All right, guys. So we're going to run through a quick tier list for the 2025 season where Bryson and I kind of think these teams are going to fall into. This is pre-draft, pre-free agency. So we're going to, as the team stands right now, we're going to go ahead and drop them in buckets, how we feel they're going into the 2025 season. Bryson, you can run through each bucket here real quick for everyone.
Okay. S tier is Super Bowl contenders. A tier is playoff contenders. B tier is wild card contenders. C tier is one or two pieces away. D tier is multiple pieces away. And F is just complete rebuild.
Yeah, or we'll call it the Bears category, right? We'll call it the Chicago bracket there at the bottom. So, Bryson, go ahead and start us off here. You got the Dallas Cowboys. Where are we dropping them in to?
I wish I could put them in a C.5 tier, but I'll put them in C.
All right, C. So we'll see what they do with Prescott back. Going to have a coaching change there, as we know, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, you're correct. They're probably, a few pieces away from competing for a playoff spot again. Absolutely. Brings us to the Colts here. Not a big fan of the Colts, so I'm going to put them in the D category, Bryson.
Okay.
You agree with that one?
No.
Why not?
I feel like they're in C tier.
I can't do it. I feel like they're more than that away, and they don't have a quarterback, right? So I'm not a big fan of Anthony Richardson.
I feel like give him one more year.
Can't do it. I've seen a few of his games. His accuracy's just not there. He's a bust to me, right? So I think the Colts need to be shopping for a quarterback. Free agency draft. I'm already sold on Richardson. Not a big fan of him. That's why I put them in the D.
Okay.
Which brings us to the Texans.
I'll put them in B tier.
B tier. I may have dropped them into C tier. I'm just not. I think they need to find a way to protect their quarterback a little bit more. I don't know what his sack pressure or sack rate was this year. It had to have been horrible. I know the game we watched him live in Green Bay. We had 5, 6, 7 sacks that game on quarterback there. They got to find a way to protect him if they're going to do anything. As far as advancing deeper into the playoffs. So, B, C, either way. So I got the Jacksonville Jaguars up next here. Offensively, I think they're okay. Defensively, not good, right? Their secondary, I think they graded out worse in the league. I'm going to go ahead. I don't think it's a complete rebuild, so I'm not going to throw them in that F category. I'll put them in the D.
All right, I'm putting the Broncos in B.
Okay. That's a pretty solid one.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the Falcons. Now, the Falcons, I think they're probably a wild card. I'm going to put them in the wild card bracket there.
Yeah.
They still need to add several pieces to kind of be that top upper echelon of the playoffs, championship weekend and beyond. So I'll put them in the B for now. A few players away.
I'll put the Lions in A.
Yeah, I agree with that. As you know, I'm not a big fan of Dan Campbell. I don't think he's that great of a head coach. I think he had great offensive coordinators. I think he had a great defensive coordinator in Aaron Glenn. They're both gone now. So it's his time to shine, prove me wrong. But for now, yeah, I think A's perfect for him. They got a great team. I'm just not real sold on their coaching staff at this point.
Yeah.
Kansas City. Mahomes is back. Kelsey came out today and said he's coming back for the next season. They're going to be competing again, right? So I'm going to drop them in the S category, which brings us to the Chargers.
I'll put them B.
B for the Chargers. That's pretty solid. Brings us to the Packers. We still got to add some pieces this offseason, right? We got to look at addressing maybe one edge rusher, got to address the secondary because it looks like Alexander's on his way out the door, especially after Gutekunst's most recent comments. So need possibly on the offense, you're going to have to go out and get a receiver, especially with Christian Watson gone. So I think they got a few pieces to add. I think they'll address it. But I'm going to go ahead and put them in the S category.
Yeah.
Probably biased on that one, but I'll take it. All right, which brings us to the Ravens here, Bryson.
I'll put them in S.
S category. Absolutely. Lamar, King Henry, how could you not? Brings us to the Bears. This is an easy one. Poverty franchise. They win the offseason, and that's about it. So I'm going to go ahead and keep them in the poverty franchise till they prove me wrong. So they'll be down there a while.
Yeah, let's go with the Bengals in A.
I agree. That's a good spot for them. Brings us to the Rams. Now, this is an interesting one. You know, is Stafford going to be back? I know they're allowing him to explore trades. So who's going to be their quarterback this coming year? So I don't know. Possibly Aaron Rodgers. For that reason, I'm going to go ahead and put them in the B category, just because I don't know who's going to be under center come next season. And then the Raiders, Bryson.
I'll put them in S.
I would agree. I think that'll change probably after this season. Pete Carroll's first year, he's going to come in. Things are going to shake up a little bit. But I like Pete Carroll. I think he's going to get them back on track. They'll be heading in the right direction, get themselves a quarterback. I think they'll be okay.
Okay, you got the Dolphins.
Dolphins. This is an interesting one. Because I don't know if Tyreek Hill, you know, he had those comments at the end of the season. Does he want to come back to Miami? Can he come back to Miami? I don't know. Tua, you know, he's always has the worry with the concussions, the head injuries. I'm going to go ahead and put them in the D category for now. I just think they're still several pieces away. Their defense needs some work. And you just don't know what you're getting out of quarterback play. And at this point, I don't know if Tyreek's coming back or not, so I'm going to go ahead and put them in the D category for now.
Browns F, easy one.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if they don't know it, they're in a complete teardown, right? They have to rebuild. They probably should move on from Myles Garrett, send them our way to Green Bay. We'll take him. But they absolutely need to rebuild. They need to go out and get a quarterback. Watson's been a failure, so they're going to have to address that. Hoping they address it in the draft. Maybe bring in a veteran presence in the meantime. But we'll see what Cleveland does. Which brings us to Minnesota.
I'm
going to put Minnesota in the B category, Bryson.
Put the Patriots in D.
Patriots in D. Yeah, Patriots is still several pieces away. I do like their young quarterback. Minnesota, just touch on them real quick. They have a decent team all around, right? Defensively, offensively. The only reason I didn't put them a little bit higher is, again, I don't know who their quarterback's going to be under center. Sam Darnold seems like he's out the door. Minnesota's not going to want to give him a lengthy contract because they do have McCarthy in the waitings there to take the reins. I don't think he's probably ready this coming season, especially coming off a season-ending injury, his rookie year. So we'll see where they land. Brings us to the Panthers. You know, I'm not as low on the Panthers as some people, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm not going to put them in a complete rebuild because I think they're heading in the right direction. I'm going to put them in D category.
All right, I'll put the Saints in C.
Yeah. Saints, you know, they're one of those sneaky teams, right? They weren't as bad as what the record showed on paper last year, right? They play strong defense.
Yeah, you just got to look at their stats.
Yeah. And, you know, hopefully they work something out with Carr, get Carr back in there. I know they're kind of in salary cap hell right now. They've overspent. So they're going to have to figure that out. But as a team, I think they're a pretty solid team, right? I'm not ready to say they're a complete rebuild quite yet. They're probably a couple pieces away from competing for a wild card spot.
Yeah.
And then the Giants.
I'll put them in F.
Yeah, I agree, right? So what a disaster of an offseason last year. You know, letting Saquon walk, McKinley walk, you know, and then bringing Daniel Jones, kind of building around him, and then cutting him halfway through the season. It's a mess in New York. They're going to have to do something. I've seen some rumors about them possibly trading for Stafford. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. You know, they're going to have to go draft young at quarterback and build around that. They took a young wide receiver in the first round last season. So they're going to have to go younger at quarterback, get that franchise guy in there and build it the right way. We'll see if they do or not. But to me, that should be the approach they take. And then the Jets.
I'll put them in. Wait, is it your turn?
Yeah, so the Jets, I think I'm going to put them... I just think they're a mess. I'm going to put them in D. Again, he's one of those teams. I don't know who their quarterback's going to be going into next season. I think Aaron Glenn probably made a mistake moving on from Aaron Rodgers. If you look at Rodgers' stats last season, they weren't that bad. It was just you cut your head coach halfway through the season. Everything was just dysfunctional there. Rodgers performed well. Not quite sure what Aaron Glenn's thinking coming in right away and removing him from the situation. But we'll see. On paper, they have a good defense. They got a good wide receiver core, but they don't have a quarterback at this moment. So, and then the Eagles, Bryson.
I'll put them in S.
We'll put the Eagles in S. All right. Absolutely. I mean, Super Bowl champs, great team. Steelers, another team, don't have a quarterback. They always make the playoffs, so I'm going to put them in the B category.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as Tomlin's there, they're going to make the playoffs. Several pieces away from legitimately competing, including at quarterback, right? So we'll put them in the B category for now, and that brings us to Seattle.
I'll put them in B also.
B as well. I agree. It's a good spot for them. There are rumors this offseason they may try to move on from DK Metcalf. We'll see if that happens or not. And then that brings us to the 49ers. So this is another interesting one. What do they do at quarterback? Are they going to re-sign Purdy to that lengthy, high-dollar contract? To me, I like Purdy. He is a system quarterback to me, and that's not a knock on Purdy, right? Nothing wrong with being a system quarterback. It wins him games, right? He does what he has to do. Should get him paid. I don't know if you put him in that $40 to $50 million range. I don't think so. He's not worth that. But, the Niners, I'll put them in a B. They should be better next year if McCaffrey can stay healthy.
Yeah, I'll put the Bucs in A.
You're going to put the Bucs?
Actually, B.
Bucs in B. Okay. Yeah, I mean, Mayfield's pretty solid quarterback. The Bucs got a decent team. Brings us to the Cardinals, right? So I'm going to put the Cardinals in C. I think they're still just a few pieces away from actually competing for a wild card or a playoff spot. And it brings us to the Titans.
I'll put the Titans in F.
Yeah, absolutely. First overall pick this year. They should address it with taking Cam Ward, right? They need a quarterback. Take Cam Ward with the first pick. Get your guy. Start building around him. That brings us to the Commanders. So the Commanders, rookie quarterback last season made the NFC Championship game. How could you not love them? So I'm going to put them in the A category.
Yeah.
And then the Bills.
Put them in S.
The Bills are a Super Bowl contender. Absolutely. Josh Allen, reigning MVP. Absolutely. So that's our tier list for the 2025 season. Again, this is pre-free agency. This is pre-draft. So there it is. Let us know what you think of it, where you would have the teams fall into. And as always, Bryson,
Let's go, Pat, go.